And there's a huge difference in experience at the upper level of the sport between Linares and Larios. But in our discussion with Linares yesterday, he simply nodded and acknowledged that and said, yeah, that's the kind of guy I want to fight because he's a heck of a fighter. Oscar Larios went to the Philippines last summer and fought Manny Pacquiao in what amounted to a tune-up fight for Pacquiao. How good is Pacquiao? He fights in what amounts to a sort of home court, entertain the home crowd tune-up fight against a guy who's been a two-time world champion at 122 pounds and once threatened to become the kingpin of that division.
And owns a knockout win over Israel Vasquez. He said, Larios said that tonight he wants to fight like a tractor trailer going downhill without brakes. And if Linares can beat that, he said he'll just be the better man. But this is baptism by fire for Linares.
Larios lost twice to Vasquez when Vasquez got inside of his long arms and was able to pepper him with inside shots, particularly that uppercut, which is a real moneymaker for Israel Vasquez. And that's part of what prompted Larios eventually to move up to 126, where he isn't quite as skinny, still rangy. Of course, he spent a long time at 122, waiting for the traffic to clear at 126 when his countrymen Marco Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales, and Juan Manuel Marquez were all occupying the featherweight weight class.
And you know, he moves up to featherweight, and there's a taller guy than him waiting for him. He's not used to that.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, Golden Boy Promotions is proud to present this contest, a world title bout. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, sponsored by Rockstar, party like a rock star, Cerveza Tecate, beer with an attitude, and Southwest Airlines, your symbol of freedom. At ringside, the three judges scoring this bout on the 10-point system are Robert Hoyle, John McCarthy, and Paul Smith. And inside the ring, your referee in charge of the action, Vic Draculich. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing. This is for the vacant WBC Featherweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black with gold, official weight 126 pounds, a perfect professional record consisting of 23 bouts, 23 victories, including 14 knockouts. Originally from Barinas, Venezuela, now training and fighting out of Tokyo, Japan, here is the undefeated Jorge Niño de Oro Linares. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue, white, and green, official weight 126 pounds. His professional record, 59 victories, including 37 knockouts against 5 defeats, with 1 bout even. Damas y caballeros de Guadalajara, Mexico, the former super bantamweight champion of the world, Oscar Chololo Larios.
All right, gentlemen, this is for the WBC World Featherweight title. You've received your instructions in the dressing room. Again, I want to caution you. Any punches below these points are going to be called low. Golpes debajo de este puntos será llamado bajo. With that said, I want you to obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times. Obedezcan mis comandos y protegerse a su mismo siempre. Touch them up now. Good luck to both of you. Tóquenlos. Buena suerte a ambos.
Oscar Larios in the red, green, and white trunks, and Jorge Linares in the black trunks. Both fighters with significant experience fighting in the Far East. Both fighters are known to be offensive threats. Larios gets it started with long-armed looping punches, his trademark.
Larios come out and started to taking control right away. It's very interesting looking how tall both of these guys are for featherweights. Linares seems to have better snap and speed on his punches though than Larios.
In the brave new world of physical conditioning, Emmanuel, you see 6'1" welterweights, and here are 126-pound fighters who sky up near the 6-foot mark.
"6'1" welterweight doesn't sound too impressive to you, Emmanuel.
No, after having Milton McCoy and Tommy Hearns
6'2".
Yep, I have a lot of big guys.
Great point, Max.
Yeah.
Way to put me in my place there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Paul Williams, and you guys are going back 25 years.
Yeah.
But Tommy Hearns was a freak of nature. I don't know how much that has to do with modern advances in nutrition.
Yeah, and I'm getting a little too hyper-enthusiastic about the height of Larios and Linares, who are more like 5'8", 5'9", than really skying towards 6 feet. But they're definitely tall for 126-pound fighters.
That's right. You don't see many featherweights this height throughout the history of that division.
You know, and even welterweight Kermit Citron, IBF champion, Kermit is about 6 feet tall.
Both fighters have landed significant punches in the first round. Notably Larios, who is looping that right hand across the top and has connected a couple of times. The shorter, straighter punches of Linares.
The more accurate pinpoint punches is coming from Linares. Larios is moving in, punch very aggressive, nice little bounce, but the clean, effective pinpoint punches are coming from Linares.
Larios said that he did not expect to win rounds in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but that by the 4th round, he expects to be very competitive. He knows that Linares' speed and boxing ability will give him problems early. 2
good body shots from Jorge Linares, and that helps to set up a perfect 1-2 upstairs. Good jab by Linares as he moves to his left and keeps bumping.
But I don't think he's had anyone that's putting the pressure on him that he's getting from Larios too. Larios is putting a lot of pressure on him. Even though he's winning, he's coming in, making him fight a little faster than he probably would like.
Oh, and Larios momentarily stopped bouncing. Linares took perfect advantage to fire a right and a left and comes back with another combination before the end of the round. Both fighters showing their offense in round 1.
Hey, buddy.
How are you feeling? You feeling good? Feeling good? Oh, you did real good. Real good. Now breathe deeply now. You're working the jab real well. Very good. Just like you're working it. Very nice. And then he's set for the uppercut. Use your combination. Just like that. You see? He's tired already. He's opening his mouth. Come on. Relax. Relax. Bend your waist. When you have him, fake him. Ready? That's it. Relax. There's 12 rounds.
In both corners, our interpreter is Jerry Olaya. They're speaking Spanish in both corners, and incidentally, terrific job by Ernie Kalua interpreting in Sar Amansat's corner in the last fight. Even though there was a dialect difference that might have made it a little bit different for Ernie, we certainly couldn't tell and knew well what was going on in the corner. CompuBox numbers in the first round here: Larios 15 out of 62, Linares 30 out of 93, including 14 connected punches in the last minute of the round by Jorge Linares. And as you said, Emmanuel Stewart, shorter, tighter, more accurate punches.
Yeah, but I would have Linares is showing a lot of good skills, pinpoint, left hooks, left uppercuts, jabs. But, you know, Larios is putting pressure on it. If he can continue to hold Larios off by doing that and stand up to the pressure, he has a good chance of winning, but Larios is going to put him to the test tonight.
The difference, it would seem to me, might be the jab. Linares is committed to his jab, has a good one. Larios lets his left hand wander as he tries to set up to throw those looping right-hand shots. Good series of punches by Linares here, and Larios gets in a mammoth shot to the body, but Linares landed more than a half dozen good shots.
Yep, and Larios is running right back at him, no right away, making him work still.
Linares is just a pretty fighter so far. I know it's really early, Jim, and you mentioned the kind of pinpoint combinations he's throwing. We saw Michael Katsidis in the previous fight, the birth of a special kind of action fighter. Let's see how Linares stands up to Larios' pressure in the ensuing rounds, because he looks kind of special
far,
here.
Linares looks great to me.
He looks special. He also, in a very different way than Katsidis, but a real pretty boxer.
Yeah, poise and boxing skill, because Larios is trying to create both mental and physical pressure, bouncing in, throwing looping shots, doubling and tripling up on his shots, and Linares seems utterly unruffled by all this as he sticks to his plan and boxes. Good shot to the body by Larios. Linares steps away to his right and immediately plants his feet and fires a perfect 1-2. Linares uses an uppercut to momentarily back Larios off. A 4-punch combination that begins to the body and moves upstairs.
Sugar Ray Linares, huh?
Hey, he's a good, nice boxer. I can see why Kenny. And by the way, Kenny Adams was a coach on the '88 Olympic team. I made a mistake in '92.
That was a terrible mistake, Emmanuel.
Yeah, big mistake. But I should have said Olympic coach, ex-Olympic coach.
He was on the that great team in Seoul, Korea, that included Roy Jones, Ray Mercer, a lot of good fighters.
Who was representing Canada at the time.
Well, Riddick Bowe was the super heavyweight for the USA.
Yes.
Oscar Larios absolutely determined to keep the pressure on Jorge Linares. Linares not varying from his envelope so far. Let's listen to Robert Byrd's referee's instructions to Winky Wright.
If you score a knockdown, do not, and I'll repeat, do not hit that man when he's down. That could cost you points, it could cost you DQ. If you're up against the ropes and you're comfortable there, it's okay with me. But you have a responsibility to me to show me that you're willing and capable of defending yourself. If you can do that, I'm going to let you fight. If you can't do that, I'm going to protect you.
Okay.
When the bell sounds, round is over. Okay? For chief second, you're going to be chief second. Chief second, you're responsible for your corner and the conduct of all the people in their corner. Do you have 2 mouthpieces?
Yes.
Okay. In the event that they're fighting, the mouthpiece comes out, I want you to have that second mouthpiece already washed off and ready to go. I'm going to bring him over. I'm going to call time, bring him over, slip it in, no instructions, no coaching, no nothing. Okay?
Good referee, probably his biggest assignment so far. They've worked very hard here in Nevada the last few years to develop a battalion of good referees who can handle the large number of big fights that take place here, and therefore referees like Byrd and Tony Weeks and Vic Drakulich, who's in the ring right now, are becoming more prominent because we're seeing them in big fight assignments. Punches through round 2. Larios 27 out of 129. Linares 56 out of 190. Linares with a 26-12 connect advantage in the second round, and he's been accurate both upstairs and downstairs, mixes the left hook in beautifully.
I think both guys are fighting a good fight. Linares naturally is very impressive, very flashy, but Larios, I'm having so much a problem with these Linares and
Larios. You can call him Oscar and Jorge if you want.
But he's doing what he has to do, Larios, meaning he knows that he can't compete with Linares in terms of skills and speed, but he's making up for it by applying tremendous pressure, hoping to pay dividends later on in the last half of the fight if it goes that long.
Remember, Jorge Linares is 23-0 with 14 knockouts. 18 of the 23 professional fights have taken place in Japan, obviously against opponents that we haven't seen and don't know much about. So there's something of an education process going on for almost everyone at ringside now as you look at the young prospect who is only 21 years old.
But Larios is getting closer and closer as it goes on. It seems like he's starting to have effect on wearing out Linares at this stage.
You know, Linares just threw a fast combination, but it wasn't a shoe shine. He was actually throwing punches, and that he's putting the punches together beautifully, becoming an accurately hard and fast.
Well, Larios is making it more of a brawl. He's getting closer and closer and closing the gap right now.
as he said he would.
Linares, to a certain degree, is participating in the brawl as his punches are getting a little bit wider and loopier as he hangs his arms out to the side to try to land to Larios' body.
And Larios' defense is much improved. He's avoiding a lot of punches that he got hit with the first 2 rounds.
Hey, listen, he went the distance against Manny Pacquiao, coming up in weight. So obviously he knows how to protect himself at times in there.
If I was in Linares' corner, even though my fight would win, I would be very, very worried about the later rounds going down into the stretch.
Good body shot by Larios on the left kidney of Linares. Linares increasingly looking as though he's finding space.
And avoiding a lot of punches that he was getting hit with. That's another. His defense has improved a lot.
Larios digging 2 hard left hands to the body there.
Sure did.
Body punching becoming more of a factor with each passing round. And now you begin to see what Oscar Larios had in mind when he said to us yesterday that he might not make his imprint in the first 4 rounds, but would get there.
Breathe deeply. Relax, be relaxed. How are you feeling? Good? Good. Listen, when he throws down, cover yourself and put the uppercut. Block with the left and work with the right. To the body and up top. But be faster now. Come on, be faster. You're right, Chololo. When you move in, bend your waist. Remember, bend your waist and move in.
When you're 30 years old with 65 professional fights, you pretty much know what's coming between rounds from your trainer. Oscar Larios looked very calm there. Power punches through round 3. Larios 36 of 141. Linares has also thrown 141, landing a little more accurately with 49 connects so far. Harold, how do you have it through it?
Okay, Jim, 2 rounds to 1, 29-28, Jorge Larios. Jim, Jorge Linares. Jim, I got to tell you something. Jorge Linares does something that I haven't seen in a long time. It's a very subtle move and you really got to look for it. What he does is he sticks that left hand out like he does there, opens up the glove, and pushes Larios off. It's something that Oscar De La Hoya used to do when he was with Jose Rivera, the professor. There he goes, right there. Sticks the left hand out, shoves Larios off. You can't do it. You can't open a glove. He gets away with it, and Draculich hasn't seen it. 2-1, Linares.
It appears to me that Linares is actually still boxing well, and in fact boxed well last round. But Larios is non-stop forward motion.
The momentum to me still is going with Larios, even though Linares is winning. My momentum, I see is with Larios.
And he's forcing Linares to continually move.
He's making him work. Larios is not maybe landing clean punches, and he's looping shots, but still I think they're going to be very effective going in the late rounds. And Linares is going to have a rough time holding on to win a decision, probably.
I'm still impressed with the composure of Linares, though.
He's a
Despite
fantastic
everything
fighter.
Larios throws at him, he looks as though this is Wednesday afternoon sparring.
No, he's a very impressive fighter.
Right.
Everything beautiful.
While Larios is coming on and there's a momentum shift in the last round, I'm not sure it was enough to win the round for Larios. I see a lot of things that Linares continues to do very well.
Yeah, I think Linares still should be winning the fight because he's landing the clean, effective blows. It's just that it's going to, be a little tough going down the stretch, but he's still winning the fight as far as I'm concerned.
What an undercard treat for boxing fans tonight. The amazing all-out brawl in the preceding fight between Michael Katsidis and Zar Amansat, and now a highly skilled boxing match with a lot of contact between Oscar Larios and Jorge Linares. Perfectly thrown body shots by Linares. And now a 3-punch combination upstairs. Great uppercut. Larios takes it well and keeps on coming.
Linares is really a pleasure to watch box.
And Larios is a pleasure to watch fight.
No doubt.
Those long punches, his arm seems to extend in mid-arc. There's an amazing resemblance, I think, between the style of Jorge Linares, and Harold Letterman said it, the young Oscar De La Hoya. Now, quickly, let's go to listen what Robert Byrd had to say to Bernard Hopkins.
Any questions, any concerns, any issues?
I have two. Okay. One is Winky wears his shorts up high. It's good tactics if you don't want to get hit to the body, especially if you got a defense where you like this, you wear a higher cup, a high waistband. And I'm a Philadelphia friend. I like to work the body. So the waistband, is that considered?
I'm going to determine,
because his waistband is extreme. It's going to be higher than mine when you see it. I'm
going to determine, and I will show you exactly what I'm going to call low or what I'm not going to call low once we get in the ring and I see.
Some fighters could have gotten that question out in 6 or 7 seconds, but Bernard likes to talk at least as much as he likes to work the body. The face of Oscar Larios. Middle stages of the fight as we enter the 5th round. Jorge Linares in the black trunks with gold. Look at the hand speed of Jorge Linares.
And also the accuracy of his punches, though.
The way he puts the combinations together as he's moving backward with authority.
Well, you're fighting on a Golden Boy card in Golden Boy territory with gold trim on your trunks and fighting in a style that's highly reminiscent of the young De La Hoya. There's a lot of star potential in Jorge Linares, particularly for the huge contingent of Latino boxing fans who have so sturdily supported the sport for the last 15, 20 years.
But at this stage of Oscar De La Hoya, Oscar had such a beautiful left jab that was phenomenal. And still, I think, more punching power, even though he delivered it in a funny way, that really beautiful left hook. Between this left jab and left hook, he was very special.
Right, I haven't seen a single weapon. I haven't seen one dominant weapon from Linares to match what Oscar's left hook always was.
Yeah, Oscar had such a beautiful left hand.
Yes, in a comparison to Oscar De La Hoya at the same age. Not everyone stacks up so great, but I'll tell you what, Linares in this fight.
He's been holding quite a bit when he gets inside, and the referee's giving him a good opportunity by not taking points away.
I'll tell you what, he looks like he hits hard enough that I'd like to know the 9 guys who've gone the distance with him in Japan. Larios, I understand.
Well, I think that Oscar was a better puncher at this stage, believe it or not, especially with his left hook. And then you got the caliber of opponents that he was fighting in Japan.
Well, and some of it could be the caliber of his footwork, too. I mean, Linares likes to keep moving, moves beautifully, and sometimes that means you don't have quite the finishing power that you would otherwise have on your punches because you're not setting your feet.
Yeah, and right there you saw right
great
hand.
Body shot by Larios with the left hand.
And a right hand and knocked the mouthpiece out of Linares too.
And now there's a lull in the action, and Linares will get a chance to put the mouthpiece back in, but that's a mark of how deeply committed Oscar Larios is to making this a physical fight. And immediately, with his hand speed, accuracy, and boxing skills, Linares makes another statement in the fight.
And it's amazing that Larios wings his punches, and Larios wings them, and most of the punches coming from Linares are very accurate, very sharp.
In the face of the kind of aggression that Larios is putting on Linares, a lot of boxers in Linares' style, now he's holding, but would have held much more frequently. He's able to box and still be exciting because he's generally moving his hands and not holding on.
Yeah, and he's able to move side to side, sometimes move back, and still put something on the punches. It's quite a show.
Vamos a golpear así, con idea. Golpea abajo y combina.
Punch to the body and then use the combinations. Where's the ice? Ice.
Ya viste que ya se quedó, ya está
You see?
yendo al frente.
He's got nothing. You see?
Moviendo la cintura y
Keep bending your waist, moving in. Use the overhand and the uppercut.
Doblar, mover la cintura y levantar con upper de derecha y gancho arriba, ¿ok? Das daño. Porque cada golpe que
Come on, he's hurting him. Every punch that you throw has to hurt him. Come on, don't play. What's happening? Come on. I need a little bit more from you.
Linares has a Japanese trainer. He also gets advice from Rudy Hernandez, brother of Gennaro Chiquinito Hernandez, one of the most stylish fighters of the last 20 years. And Rudy has a solid Southern California base, a lot of experience in the sport, so Linares has a strong corner, even though we don't know anything really about his Japanese trainer. CompuBox numbers in round 5, Larios was 19 out of 62, and Linares was 28 out of 98 punches. The 19 connects, a high water number in the fight for Larios. When you're able to throw 98 punches in the face of what Larios is doing, that means you're capable of letting your hands go. And Linares is going back to the body now early in the round to try to take a little bit of the mustard out of Oscar Larios.
Linares he's forced to throw a lot of punches because of the pressure Larios is putting on him. But moments ago, he let loose with an 8-punch combination, I think. His hands are moving very fast. And very seldom do you see a boxer able to do that against another world-class fighter.
No, he's landing a lot of punches, but a lot of the punches, Larios is getting away from a lot of those punches. That also, as I was pointed out earlier, he just can't land nothing too effective himself because of the speed and the accuracy of the two fighters is better for Linares. But he's not getting hit with the punches. It looks like he's getting hit, but he's slipping and picking a lot of those punches off.
Pretty good little left hook by Linares. And then Linares trying to block Oscar Larios' body shots with his arms clamped tightly down on the ribcage. You'll see Winky Wright doing that later on tonight against Bernard Hopkins. It's interesting how for a few moments they'll duel to the body and trade body shots as if to say, okay, I'll top yours. Then they go back upstairs and trade upstairs.
Yeah, you know, we've been watching all of the beautiful, accurate head punches that Linares have been landing, but he's also landing a lot of body punches, too. I mean, well-placed body punches.
So is Larios.
Yes, Linares' body punches seem to be, in fact, Jim, in response to Larios' body punches, as though he won't let Larios get the better of him down there.
Right, like it's a body argument.
Linares came out very fast just beginning this round, particularly with combinations to the body and the head, and seemingly has gotten a little bit winded right now. And Larios is trying to take advantage of that.
Linares even glanced up at the clock at one point.
Great left uppercut.
Great uppercut.
That staggered Larios.
And now Larios momentarily in trouble, and Linares trying to compound the damage.
And the same punch will work again if he shoots it underneath.
He threw that left uppercut. Larios' legs turned to jelly.
Two great body shots from Linares. Straight right hand. Another straight right hand. And another. Brilliant rally down the stretch by Jorge Linares. The Venezuelan kid from Japan showing a lot of style in the 5th round.
And Larios was seriously hurt at the end of that round.
You okay? Come on, relax, relax. Don't be desperate. Look, he's done. Everything's okay.
Here you see the body punches I was mentioning earlier that Linares is landing. Even though we're looking at the head punches, he's landing a lot of well-placed body shots also in between.
Use the jab, jab, jab. Use the jab. You got him. He's there.
And here you see that Larios, as I said earlier, was ducking and getting away from a lot of the punches. It's one time that he made a mistake and got caught with a left uppercut that he didn't see, and that's what started his trouble at the end of the last round.
Power punches in round 6. Larios 11 out of 33, and Linares 36 out of 85. Jorge Linares threw 113 punches in the 6th round, his high number for the fight. You got that much hand speed, and you're free enough to let him go like that. You can do some damage, and he did. Harold, how do you have it through 6?
Look at you, 5 rounds to 1.
Oh, big right hand by Linares. Keep going.
5 rounds to 1, 59-55. Jorge Linares based strictly on clean punching. I mean, he's backing up. He's not the aggressor, but boy, he's landed the cleanest shots. 5-1, Linares.
Now, Linares is moving forward now and making Larios back up a little bit.
Yeah, and suddenly Larios is reluctant to throw in combination because Linares has been so effective in countering when Larios lets his wide shots go from both sides. Now Oscar wants to try to do it one punch at a time. That's not going to work against a guy who can combine them the way Linares does.
Because he need to keep bringing those left uppercuts. But there you go. That's the punch that he lands more effective. Because the straight punches, for whatever reason, Larios kind of picks and moves and slips and slides. But he doesn't look for the left uppercut.
And Linares has noticed that and suddenly threw a barrage of them in this round.
This is exactly what you call ineffective aggression. Larios is coming in very aggressive, but not able to land clean blows.
You know, I would amend that just slightly. I think it is effective aggression, but it's in the face of such outstanding boxing skill that it's not effective enough to outdo what Linares is doing.
It's not effective in terms of landing blows now, but it was this kind of dividend pressure, you would say. Hoping the last few rounds it would take advantage of it, but the way he's getting hit, I don't know if that's going to make much difference.
Dividend pressure. I believe that's a new one, Emmanuel. I like that a lot.
But, you know, that kind of dividend pressure, as you say, was not enough. It started to change the momentum a bit, and yet Linares was calm and cool enough and skilled enough and tough enough to go right through it and just continue doing what he does.
Well, I think the 21-year-old has made an impression with his body punching. Larios' punches don't seem to have the same impact that they had in the first 3 or 4 rounds, and Linares is taking advantage of that to set his feet and fire more meaningful shots.
I'm very impressed with Linares. You know, with this type of a pressure coming from a veteran fighter, he's fighting a very good control fight.
He's the kind of fighter, Linares, that makes me at least go ooh and ah when I watch him work. 8 punch combinations, most of them landing 6 and 8 punches at a time.
And Oscar Larios' face, most particularly his left eye, beginning to show the results of Jorge Linares' consistent accuracy and sharp punching throughout the fight. In one dressing room, 35-year-old Ronald Lamont Winky Wright. He says at this point, look, I'm no light heavyweight. I'm mostly still a super middleweight or a middleweight fighter, but I'm looking at an opportunity to enhance my credentials and my legacy. I'm fighting the best fighter I can find to fight. As for Bernard Hopkins, he spent years punishing his body and remaining at the middleweight weight level when, if he didn't have that 20 consecutive title defense streak and the legacy he was building as a middleweight, he might well have moved up to light heavyweight 4, 5, 6 years ago. The instant he appeared as a light heavyweight last year against Antonio Tarver, Emmanuel Stewart, for one, stepped up and said, I think he should have been a light heavyweight for a long time. It looks like his more natural weight. Tonight they'll fight each other at 170 pounds. Bernard Hopkins and Winky Wright. CompuBox numbers in the 7th round. Larios, 11 out of 48. His low punch output for the fight. Linares, 39 out of 100. Larios didn't connect on a punch in the first minute and a half of that 7th round. Now the 8th. Another fast combination of body punches from Linares, and he goes upstairs at the end. Larios increasingly trying to get it done with one shot at a time.
And Larios can do that because he's not a big puncher, but after every one of those big exchanges that Linares lands, immediately Larios starts putting pressure on him right away, and he's been able to still hold tight and maintain, because a lot of younger guys would fall apart then, because that's the time they want to take that little break after a big flurry.
Emmanuel, why is Larios able to connect with those looping right hands from time to time against Linares, who seems to be a good defensive fighter?
Because he's getting tired. As I said, the dividends he was expecting later on is beginning to pay off now. He's getting tired now, so he's misjudging his distance. He's thinking he's further away than he is. He's still too close.
The determination of Larios is really impressive.
Yeah,
that he's still applying this pressure and hasn't stopped throughout.
Well, he knows he doesn't have the skills to match the guy, so he's trying to make it up with just aggression. That's all.
Walking through some hard shots to do it.
But he's ragged. His balance is ebbing a little bit. His punches don't have the same impact as was the case before. And you see the benefit of fighting from a tighter, more skilled boxing envelope. As the better balance of Linares and the sharper punching continues to make a big difference. What a combination that was.
Jim, he put together about 10, 12 punches, right hands to the body mixed up with left hooks to the head.
Some wicked left hooks to the body in there, too. And you see what, as soon as that's over with, Larios is right back at him again without letting him rest.
Left hook by Larios, bigger left hook to the body by Linares. That backs Larios off. Linares notices and comes back to the body 4 more times.
Larios looked hurt by that left hook to the body.
Body punches.
Linares, for a 21-year-old fighter, is extremely aware of what happens between himself and the opponent in the ring. Now, as we continue to count down to the main event, let's take another look at what happened yesterday at the weigh-in. A jovial Winky Wright jawing with Bernard Hopkins, a smiling Bernard Hopkins. No apparent antagonism between the two up to this moment. Freddie Roach standing calmly by. Train Oscar De La Hoya 1 minute, train Bernard Hopkins the next. Is there a better hired gun in the sport than Freddie Roach? And then suddenly, the verbal confrontation between the two fighters and the stare down after they had weighed in. And as Golden Boy matchmaker Eric Gomez watched between the two of them, Hopkins put his right hand on the forehead of Winky Wright and pushed him back. And for that, Bernard Hopkins is staring at what could be a $300,000 fine, because the Nevada State Athletic Commission is withholding 10% of his $3 million purse as they await a hearing on Monday to determine what the penalty will be for disrupting the weigh-in.
The commission better have a good jab to keep Hopkins away from his 300 grand, Jim.
Frankly, ticket sales have not been spectacular, and there are some cynics here in Las Vegas who wondered if Hopkins did that to try to generate some more media coverage and more attention for the fight. I think Larios is getting weary, Emmanuel.
Yeah, that is because Linares is putting his combinations together, body and head. He's breaking him down with both. And all he has to do is shoot a left uppercut in between there, and I think he would finish him off.
Linares' hand speed has in no way diminished. He's able, when he wants to put his punches together in bunches. And Larios is still flinging those long right-hand shots one at a time, trying to somehow change the fight.
As you mentioned, Emmanuel, in the last round, the left hook to the body really started to hurt Larios. And Jim, as you mentioned, Linares is so aware of what's going on in the ring, because since that time, he's gone almost exclusively with both hands to the body. So often you see a fighter not follow up his advantage when he's hurt his opponent in the body. That is not the case with Linares.
I've been very impressed because, you know, he's been under a lot of pressure, so this is really a great development fight for him.
Look at the body punching continue from Linares. For every one that Larios lands, Linares tries to put together 4 or 5 in a hurry. Another thudding body shot. Larios continues to chase, try to put pressure on the 21-year-old fighter. You can almost feel Oscar Larios trying to say to Linares, look, I'm a man in here. You're still a boy. You're not supposed to be able to deal with me the way you've done so far.
Well, at the fighters, I mean, that was the main thing. He said he was dependent on his experience going down the stretch with a lot of big fights behind him, that he would be able to break the young fighter down. But so far, Linares is held on and is still fighting.
Yeah, the boy can box and the boy can fight. In fact, after this fight, many in boxing will say, that boy can box.
There may be quite a number of viewers out there getting ready to watch Bernard Hopkins and Winky Wright, who will look back in the next couple of years and say, that was the night that I first saw Michael Katsidas And that was the night I first saw Jorge Linares.
In other words, you're saying they are future big stars.
And they're stealing the show unless Hopkins and Wright can provide considerable excitement in their fight. And incidentally, Sar Amensat looked really good much of the time against Michael Katsidis. Katsidis is just a bizarre force of nature.
Amensat and Larios, worthy fighters.
Absolutely.
Admirable fighters. Linares and Katsidis, special fighters.
Let go on the inside. Time!
Breathe, breathe deeply. Breathe deeply. What's wrong? What's wrong? Are you hearing me? You want to win or what? You want to win? Come on, you can win. What's up? He's hitting you low. He's hitting you low a lot. Chololo, when you go in, put your left shoulder in first. Come on, left shoulder in first. You okay? There's 3 rounds left.
Combi box numbers in the 9th round. Larios 32 out of 93. Jorge Linares 46 out of 98. High number of connects in the fight for each fighter. It was a very physical round. Harold, how do you have it going to the last 3?
Okay, Jim. 89, 82, 8 rounds to 1. Jorge Linares. Jim, a beautiful exhibition of boxing. The last 2 rounds, he switched his attack to the body, just like you said. Jorge Linares boxing an absolutely masterful fight. Interestingly enough, he always seems to come on in the last minute. In other words, what he does in the first 2 minutes just starts to build up momentum to what he's going to do in the last minute. It's not that he's stealing rounds, he's winning them, but he does very, very well in the last minute of each round. 8 rounds to 1, Linares.
This is against a guy who has 59 wins in 65 previous fights. This is against a guy who lost a decision to Manny Pacquiao in the Philippines last year.
Larios is hurt.
Probably by a lesser margin than the margin by which he might lose this fight on the scorecard. This is an eye-catching performance by Linares.
Great right hand.
And he has hurt Oscar Larios with a series of combinations to the head in this round. After focusing to the body in the 2 preceding rounds, Linares quickly brought it back upstairs here and is making his point again.
Jim, think of how many different ways Linares has hurt a sturdy guy in Larios. Left uppercut, left hook to the body, right hand in this round at 2 different occasions.
And what guts Larios is showing as he continues to press forward in the face of the assault. There's another sharp right hand by Linares inside. And while we're continuing to heap praise on the young fighter, and personally I can't stop, he looks too good. He also has, Emmanuel, what I think of as subtle defensive skill, in the sense that you'll make contact with him, but you don't make solid square contact with him.
No, he's got good eyes, as we say in Tennessee, just enough to let you miss him. He doesn't make a lot of unnecessary moves, neither.
And you know, Jim, part of the reason I think he gets... Oh, what a right hand. That's the end of this fight. That's the end of this fight.
And Linares very calmly walks to the neutral corner because he knows he's got his man. Larios still wobbling badly. And Dick Jarkulic stops the fight. What a way to close the show. What a stunning debut. What a stunning debut in America.
Even the right hands he was getting caught with, I think, were more because he's not thinking exclusively defense. He's not scared to get hit, even though he has, and maybe because he has, such a good, responsible defense. And so occasionally, he will get hit. Linares, that is.
Brilliant performance by a 21-year-old fighter. He will turn 22 on August 22nd, 1 month from tomorrow. 24 wins, 15 by knockout now. Jorge Linares. Let's take a look at the finish.
Right here is a short right hand. I think it was just accumulation of so many blows earlier that it wasn't any one punch was going to be effective, but just accumulation. And his beautiful awareness of everything and sense of distance was amazing.
He joins Israel Vasquez and the young Agapito Sanchez in becoming the third fighter to score a knockout victory over Oscar Larios.
Yeah, and he did it the hard way, too.
He built it round by round.
Yes, under a lot of pressure.
Brilliant performance once again, and now let's go to Michael Buffer for the official particulars on the knockout.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Vic Draculich calls a halt to this contest. The winner and new champion representing Taken Boxing from Tokyo. He is the fighting pride of Venezuela and new WBC featherweight champion of the world, Jorge Niño de Oro Linares.
Final CompuBox numbers, and Linares stretched his advantages in these numbers in the last round when he put on a show against a fading Oscar Larios. But all in all, Linares lands 142 more punches, throws 314 more punches, lands at a 34% connect percentage, extremely professional against a good fighter. Limits Larios to 28%, and Larios never landed a big bludgeoning shot to hurt Linares at a single moment in the fight. Power punches. Larios lands 143, but Linares lands 124 more. Throws. Nearly 200 more power shots and lands at a 41% percentage. Normally, when you land more than 40% of your power shots, fight the way Linares did, you're going to win the fight. A brilliant show as he moves to 24 and